Well, welcome everyone. My name is Stephanie Perks, one of the co-founders and executive director of Coastal Foodshed. I'd like to welcome and thank some of our elected officials for being here today. We have here Congressman Keating's office, represented by Elizabeth Tebbs-Rhoda, Representative Bill Strauss, Representative Tony Cabral, Representative Chris Hendricks, and the City of New Bedford Mayor Jon Mitchell, and Councilor Jill Lopes couldn't be here today. So thank you. This is a really great crowd here. I'm amazed. Thank you for all coming here. We did not expect this crowd, so this is wonderful. So there are a lot of people to thank today, a lot. So here goes. It's been quite a journey to get to where we are. It's been 7 years, and we floated around to 4 different locations, starting in an old car garage somewhere in the west end of New Bedford, and then quickly moving to a cafe right up the road over here in the south end. We were working out of a tiny reach-in refrigerator, probably the size of that refrigerator right over there. There's some pictures floating around over there too, you can see. We had an old white beat-up van. We were traveling around to different farms across the South Coast. It's been a crazy ride. So luckily though, through the chaos of the pandemic, we found a space that became our temporary home. And this was at 38 Blackmere Street, just down the road over here. And that really became a place where we were able to test our capacity and really learn what we could do as a farmer food hub in the South Coast. So we were able to use the infrastructure and really play with things like a loading dock and have a giant walk-in cooler. I remember during the pandemic, I was with Dan King and we got in the cooler and I did a little jig because it's a big deal. We're kind of cooler nerds around here. And those are the kind of infrastructure that we need in order to move a lot of local food and make a big difference. So many of you here know that a lot of this work requires strong support from our community. And we were fortunate when Island Creek Oysters took over as our landlords. They took us under their wing and we got to see how they moved food and learned so much from them. And they've become our good friends and local food partners. So I want to thank Chris Sherman and Robert Chandler, who are here today, for being so supportive of us during that transition and in allowing us to be at Blackmere. That was a really crucial part of our success and growth, and we can't thank you both enough. Thanks, Chris. So, it was finally time for us to move out of our parents' house, though, as we like to say, and find our own home, because we never had a space of our own. And that was, really important for us to find somewhere where we could put down some strong roots. So we were really committed to staying in New Bedford, and after several months of searching for spaces, we came across this space here. And just amazingly, over a year ago today, you would have been standing inside a flea market. It was completely full. There are some pictures on there too that you can see. And so the Kilburn Mills did an amazing job at transforming the space. So I want to thank Peter Andrade, who's here today, and Jim Murray and their Kilburn team for doing an amazing job. Thanks, guys. So this space, I think, really highlights how far we've grown over the last 7 years from our days of just managing the farmers markets in the city to becoming now the South Coast Farmer Food Hub and selling and distributing $20,000 worth of local food every week across the South Coast, to residents, schools, food pantries. We're really trying to expand, local food across the South Coast and beyond. We partner with over 65 local farms, and we've sold and distributed more than $2.7 million worth of food since 2017, and that number continues to grow every year. So, of course, we would not be in this space right now if it weren't for many people and community partners in this room. And so we're really grateful for everyone who supported our first capital campaign. So shout out to Abby Heavey over there, who's one of our co-founders. She did an amazing job with that. And so I'd really like to thank, the individuals who are here today who contributed to that capital campaign. That's, of course, the City of New Bedford, Mayor Jon Mitchell, through their ARPA funding, the Executive Office of Energy and Affairs Food Security Infrastructure Grant Program, the Bristol County Savings Charitable Program, the Massachusetts Food Trust, the First Citizens Federal Credit Union. I'd also like to thank Representative Strauss, who's here today, for being a longtime advocate of our work and ensuring that we receive legislative earmarks each year that have been critical to our success since the very beginning. I'd also like to thank our longtime funders of Coastal Foodshed who are here today, the Carney Family Charitable Foundation, MDAR, South Coast Health, New Bedford Creative, ARAW, Hawthorne Medical, Edible Southeastern Mass. Their magazines are here today too, you should check those out. Rockland Trust, and of course all of our community partners who are here today. We wouldn't be able to do this work without you guys. You're amazing for what you do. And last but certainly not least, I would like to thank our amazing Coastal Foodshed team who are here with their Coastal Foodshed shirts, and some of them are outsourcing from our farmers right now. We moved into this space a year ago in a 1,000 square foot space. It was like half of this room, and our entire operations were in there, and the team made it work. We were on the second floor of the Kilburn Mill. Our cooler was out back. They did an incredible job. If we didn't have such passionate individuals and a dedicated team, we would never be able to do this work. So thank you guys, you're amazing. I'd also like to thank, of course, our farmers, who some of them are here today, and of course they're out farming. They do an incredible amount of work for our community, and we're really passionate about finding solutions to making their food accessible in the community. So with that, we have finally found our own home to put down strong roots, and we're excited to bring the public into the space, not just to buy local food, but to come inside and learn about it. And we really want this to be a part of our culture and identity of the South Coast. So this space is really going to allow us to grow into the next chapter, and we're excited to see where it takes us. Okay, so with that, I'd like to introduce Karen Schwabe, who is our Executive Director of the Mass Farm Bureau, or excuse me, she is our Board Chair and Executive Director of the Farm Bureau.
Thank you, Stephanie. What an amazing day. I mean, Coastal Foodshed has been building toward this moment for 6 years. I have been an observer and now part of a vibrant board that supports this organization. And to watch this growth, it has been an honor. It's for the people, the community of New Bedford, which became very obvious that food access was an issue. Local healthy food is important to the health and to the vibrancy of the community. And being able to bring local food to these communities through the pop-up markets, through the farmers markets that are being managed, through the home delivery system to provide an opportunity to use SNAP dollars and healthy incentive programs dollars to access local food has been a real game changer for many people in this community. And it also helps the farmers. Being able to grow food locally is an amazing opportunity, but it takes a lot of time and energy. And for farmers to access underserved markets, there needs to be a way to meet the cost of production and the ability for people to pay. And so SNAP program, HIP dollars, farmers market coupons, senior coupons are all part of that. But they can't be used if the food is not there. And Coastal Foodshed provided that bridge between the farmers and the community to be able to eat better, support our local farming community for the rural benefits, the open space, the business aspect of it. So this has been an amazing opportunity to bring those aspects together. And now this is kind of like the icing on the cake, being able to find a permanent home, someplace where this community can build, where the Coastal Foodshed can expand its work, creating more job opportunities, more opportunities to sell local food, and more access for the people of the Southeastern Mass communities. And so I wanted to say thank you to Stephanie and the staff, as well as the board, for the time and energy that has been put into this to get it where it is today. And congratulations, Stephanie, Abby, and all of the Coastal Foodshed staff. Thanks.
So I'd like to introduce Mayor Jon Mitchell to say a few words. Mayor Mitchell has been a supporter of Coastal Foodshed since our early days of Mass in Motion, well over 10 years ago now. So I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Steph. Good morning, everybody. I just want to start off by just observing that this is about the coolest podium I've ever spoken at. Look at this. Everybody take a look through these crates. This is really rustic. Thank you for that. Nice touch. Well, good morning, everybody. It's great to see everyone come out for this really fun event. And there's one person that you didn't thank, and that is you, Stephanie. It's started off with Mass in Motion. When you said Mass in Motion, oh wow, that was a while ago. But you have really built this enterprise into something that has legs now. It's sustainable in the broadest sense of that term, and now with a fixed place that people can come to, and it's a real success story. Given the importance of the work, I just think you just deserve a lot of credit. So I'd invite everybody to give Stephanie a hearty round of applause for pushing this I want to thank our state delegation, Chris, Tony, and Bill, for their support of this program over the years. Bit by bit, it has grown, and it's gotten state funding that has been put to good use over time. I really appreciate that support. The work here is, well, I'll just say something. I want to thank Liz Rodas here from Congressman Keating's office, and the money that the city put directly into this project came from the American Rescue Plan Act, and it made a big difference, $40,000, and really helped with the build out of the place. But I think one point I'd like to make about investments like these with ARPA funds was that our approach was a little bit different. We as a city sort of played the role of angel investor with a lot of projects around the city, and we made folks compete for ARPA funds rather than putting them into programs that couldn't be sustained with one-time funds like our ARPA money. We said, all right, tell us what you're going to build, and if it's eligible, tell us why it's meritorious and what other money are you raising. So the idea was that we could leverage still more funds into our city by offering up ARPA funds. And so that's happened in the context of things like port facilities and housing and daycare centers and all the other stuff that we're building right now. It's great. But in this particular case, we had a project that checked every block. I mean, the reason you guys it wasn't just because we like you guys so much. We said, well, let's cut them a check. You guys made a strong case. You've had a strong track record here. You know what you're doing. The work is important, and you were leveraging other funds. And so it was kind of a no-brainer for us to do that. So the credit really goes to the hard work of the team and all the volunteers, all the farmers, everybody who works here. Which is just, it leads me to my last point. That is, I think this is, there's still a lot of room to grow, right? When you step back and think about the circumstances of Coastal Foodshed in our region, a lot of people, when they think about Greater New Bedford, they think about one type of food that comes in, and it comes in over the docks, right? And we are proudly America's leading commercial fishing port, and so that type of food is locally sourced for sure. But what a lot of folks, and the exception being in this room, all of you appreciate the fact that in the Northeast, this is one of the most fertile agricultural regions. I mean, we generate a lot of produce. There's a fair amount of livestock in the region as well in Greater New Bedford. And New Bedford's the center city of the region, and so it makes all this. And as we know, there is need. There are some folks who are, who need better access to healthy foods and to be encouraged to avail themselves of what you guys have to offer. So it's a really good alignment of opportunity with needs that I think still has a lot of running room here. So what you guys are doing, as much as this is a success, I'd say that it can go even further. I mean, I don't mean for this to sound like what'd you do for me lately kind of messaging here, because this is great. But I just hope what you take away from this is like you're doing good stuff, and this you can still even do more, because the potential's enormous here. It's great that the region is starting to get better known as the agricultural center as it is, and as well as a place where there's a strong interconnection of what happens out in the hinterland and the inner city. So all good stuff. I really appreciate the work that the team has done, and we're proud to have supported it. So thank you.
Thank you, Anderson. I would like to introduce Representative Bill Strauss, who's here today. Representative Bill Strauss has also been a longtime supporter of Coastal Foodshed, securing state funding for us. That was so critical in the very beginning when no one knew who we were. So Representative Strauss, I'd love for you to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, everybody. This is an event I've looked forward to for a long time. You have the numbers and the examples of how this organization has expanded over the years. I think it's over 60 farmer partners now, which is an amazing number, if not that just to show to people how many different agricultural producers there are within our region. That's always important to keep track of. It's funny, as a politician, elected person, you never know, I'll give you an insight, where some of these great ideas start from, and you always have to have your ears open. And so I remember several years ago when my daughter was living out in the Pacific Northwest, she had been a volunteer in a gleaning program in Seattle. And she said, "You've got some public job, right? Why don't you do food things? Why don't you get involved in that?" So every successful program ultimately reflects what is appropriate in a region. So what may have worked in other cities isn't necessarily for us. And so the beauty of this organization is that it has come together, expanded, and will continue to grow, as the mayor said. It will happen because of a simple idea. There are people who need food around here, and there are people who grow food around here. And an organization, you wouldn't think it's true, but an organization needs to exist, which is that thing in the middle that brings them together. And I watched, particularly during COVID, when people were obviously isolated from each other, how this organization actually grew. And in response to that situation where people maybe had less access to fresh and healthy food, Coastal Foodshed stepped in different ways to make sure that populations that otherwise wouldn't have as much access to fresh food were helped out, were not forgotten. And so today's event, where we honor a place, and it's important, of course, to have a place like this, a facility like this. It's still, as every speaker has indicated, depends on the people who step forward, largely volunteer, to make an organization like this happen. So it's just an honor for me to be part of this recognition today, and the hope that the work will not just continue but expand. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Representative Strauss, and we wish you a happy retirement as well. Yes. We'll miss you. I'd like to invite Representative Tony Cabral, who's also been a supporter of Coastal Foodshed, to say a few words.
Good morning, and thank you very much. This is wonderful. Welcome home. Finally, right? Welcome home. What a better place than in the south end of New Bedford. In the city, I'm really happy that you chose to stay in the city, because in the city we need this kind of program. And this is a wonderful place, right? A wonderful facility. Right goes to the heart of what we need to do here. Local food, grown by local farmers. So this is sort of the middleman, if you will, between those who buy or those who eat and those who actually produce. And that's nothing like local, fresh food. And we have a lot of folks in the city that really need this kind of food chain, if you will, in order to get some good, healthy food and locally grown. And I've been going to the Farmers Bureau annual event, wonderful breakfast, by the way, every year for over 30 years, right? And at the beginning they said, gee, your whole district is in the city, so why you come every year? The Farmers Bureau also does at the state level, does a wonderful job in promoting and helping local farmers, not only in Southeastern Mass, but throughout Massachusetts. And they advocate on their behalf. There's lots of legislation that comes before us in this area of farming and agriculture that we all get involved in. And it doesn't matter if you live in the city, if you represent the city or a town, that's all important to us, right? And, this always reminds me also when I was a little kid. As a little kid back in the Azores, my parents, my father in particular, every spring we used to plant. Most of the food that we actually ate in that house was 9 kids, plus my mom, my dad, my grandmother, my grandfather. Imagine. So my father was a mechanic, but every spring, because the planting season in the Azores starts right at spring, around March 20, 21, 22. We used to take about 3 to 4 days off work to plant all the food that we needed for the year, from potatoes to corn to vegetables to watermelons, you name it. We used to do. So every time I go to the Farm Bureau and I talk to local farmers, it's a wonderful thing for me, because it sort of brings back great memories of how important that was. And so at that age, I didn't realize how important it was, but I had to work as well. One of my jobs was potatoes, right? My father used to cut them, and you know how you get potatoes, right? You put a little piece of the potato back in the ground, and there you go. 3 months later, you got new potatoes, right? So my job as a little kid is go in the rows and put the potatoes along. That was an easy, no heavy lifting, right? But I've had so many positive conversations in the city about the job of this organization and what they do in trying to get fresh, local grown food to especially a lot of families that usually don't have that opportunity to get that kind of local grown food and fresh food. So again, congratulations. I'm going to bring Chris up for a few words as well. Chris, come on up, if you don't mind. But thank you to all of you. I know you're all supporters of this program, of this organization, and at the same time, you're all supporters of the local farmers. And keep up the good work, whatever we can do. I know he's retiring, but we're going to talk, right?
He's not running for re-election. No one said he's retiring.
He's not running for re-election. So we'll have a discussion about this here, Mark, right, Chris? All right. Thanks very much. Chris.
Thank you, Tony, and of course, thank you to everyone here, all the partners, Coastal Foodshed. You're such a leading example in our city of how to get things done and support people, and it's really been an honor to be a partner and to bear witness to that. Thank you to the city, to Mayor Mitchell for the ARPA funding, that's huge, and of course to Congressman Keating's office for that. When COVID happened, we all realized how insecure a lot of people are dealing with food insecurity. So, we learned a lot over the last few years about access to quality food and access to healthy eating. So I'm really glad that you're able to establish some roots here down in Kilburn Mill with this state-of-the-art, unbelievable walk-in cooler that Paul Roy was able to, and Kilburn Mill were able to put in with obviously your leadership. So you can't really serve your community, you can't really make an impact in your neighborhood if you can't keep the food fresh. So thank you for that, for investing in such a great, valuable asset here in the city. I just want to congratulate you, and it's really an honor to be here with you celebrating this. So good work, and keep up the momentum. Thanks.
Thank you. And Tony Cabral, always love your wonderful farm stories and gardening stories. So thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time here today and your support. I believe we're going to do an official ribbon cutting, but afterwards I invite you to explore. We have our office space back there, and you're welcome to come and explore the warehouse space as well. And please help yourself to the food in the middle of the table. It's delicious local food. The baker also made us some tasty treats. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time.